For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the PopCulturists PlayStation Podcast with 40 years of playing PlayStation and 10 plus years in that games meeting. But I want to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. But if you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials. Facebook, I think, is still non-existent. But Discord's there, Instagram, Twitter, we're around. Hit us up. All those links can be found in the description below. If
you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturists, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can. Patreon.com/thepopculturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But one thing you can't buy, Max, and we're talking about it with the Twitch chat here as we started the show, was I am sitting here in my lovely Marvel chibi hoodie because I just couldn't be bothered getting changed before we started the show. And then I thought of a point came across my head. I was like, why don't we address the lovely people at Udi? Because Max, your picture of your daughter on their Twitter gets loved all the time. It's a young little lady Max in a beautiful garlic Udi. It's great. So look, they've already got buy-in on half the show. I've shared some stuff from photos of my son and I. They gave it some love. But why don't they go that extra step? Hey, Woody, Ryan, Max. Woodies are great. It's so cool that you have Pokemon ones. It's so great that you have Minecraft ones and Star Wars and other various brands. But why not PlayStation? Get one covered in them sweet sacred symbols. We would pimp the living crap out of that Woody, is all I'm saying. What about you, Max? Would you pimp a PlayStation Woody?
Yeah, what up?
Yeah, cool. So, Udi, I have no control over the IP of the sacred symbols, but let's talk. For the Udis. That could work. How are you, man?
Not too bad.
You're Udi-less, I see?
I am Udi-less because I've got a fan on. Like, it's hot in here.
Any word? What's the word?
Bird?
Yes. No, how's your week been? What's going
on? Yeah, week's been pretty cruisy. Not much happened. I think this was my first week back at work.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you went back.
After what felt like forever off. Turns out I really like not working but still getting paid.
Oh man, isn't it brilliant?
It was a rough start back at work. I knew it was going to be an absolute shit show when I returned.
Yeah.
It was even more so than I thought. And then I got the bad news on my way home. Like I messaged my wife. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be home late. Just like, don't stress type thing. And I get the, Hadley's sick. She's not going to kinder today. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm just fucking staying up all day now.
Yep.
After working.
No sleep for Max.
Luckily, my wife just took the morning off. Let me sleep for a couple of hours. But my week's been kind of up and down. We kind of got some news about the house, which I'm really tentative about getting excited about because they've been pretty shit at keeping to their time schedule. They're like, the site manager was like, look, if the office pulls their finger out and gets all your paperwork sorted, you should be in for your final walkthrough this coming Friday. So that's exciting. And I mean, we're going to be in like
incredibly exciting.
I would imagine shortly after Easter, which is a bit longer than we anticipated, but you know.
You were originally hoping for Christmas.
Well, we were originally hoping for Christmas, and then they told us the back end of February, and now they're like definitely March, and now it's definitely April.
Yes, yeah, March does not have much time left.
So we're slowly getting there, But yeah, it's just one of those things. What about you? How's your week been?
Not much to report this week, actually. It's been pretty chill. Work is work. Pardon me. I did almost get to go work Knotfest because one of the wrestling promotions that I work for, Renegades of Wrestling, were there they had a tent, just with a wrestling ring in it and just punching on. Obviously with Corey Taylor from Slipknot being a massive wrestling fan, it was an easy deal. And they work with Destroy All Lines. But I could have got the day off at turns, but I didn't take it off because I was like, I've taken a lot of days off over the last month. I probably shouldn't, take too much annual. It's probably not that good. And then I go to work on Friday and I was like, yeah, it's been cool. And then like my boss was Paris was like, thought you were going. I'm like, no, I asked you and I mentioned it and you didn't say anything. He goes, yeah, but you can just put your leave in and I'll fucking approve it. It would have been awesome.
Okay. You're like, okay, I'm leaving.
No, I couldn't. This was like 2 in the afternoon.
I have a few friends who went to Knotfest.
Yeah, it looked awesome. Plus, I could have got in as crew to do with the wrestling stuff. So it would have been awesomer even again. But other than that, not a whole lot to report. Been pretty chill. Do anything exciting this weekend? No, so this weekend was the first weekend in like forever that I've not really done anything. I spent Saturday just kind of chilling around the house, tinkering a little bit, but I have done one thing. Now this is most definitely unrelated to the show. However, as we do with this show, it is about PlayStation, but it's also it's about us. It's like we are the personalities behind this show. So in the show we talk about the things that are good, things that are bad, all the different things. So we like us sitting here sharing Max's experience about his house, etc. Like for me, so many of you know back in the day when we used to have our Get Less Fat updates, I did a weight loss journey, and a big part of that was me going to the gym. Now, since all the events that took place in the back end of 2021. I had been back to the gym once, and I guess for me, I connect the fall of my marriage to my weight loss journey, in that I would, because a weight loss journey is in of itself quite inherently selfish, and I unnecessarily prioritized it over many, many things because of my undiagnosed ADHD. I had been very reluctant to return to the gym because it feels like this almost trauma response. The second that I think about it, I go, no, you can't do that. Because, I've talked about it on the show here before, like with my entire path moving forward since that moment is all about being better father, being a better parent, being a better person. And I really have this built-in response where if I fear that if I go back, I will fall back into my old ways and become the me I don't want to be again. Saying that though, I did decide to go back. I was like, well, I can't live on this forever. Pardon me, I have gained some weight back since my ultimate lowest in weight loss in 2021. And it's been intense. It's an interesting sensation, Max, to say the least. But thankfully, I'm not alone this time. Where last time I wasn't alone. I did have my ex-wife supporting me and all my friends. But this time, I'm not doing it alone in terms of going to the gym and all these things. So I'm joined by my partner Phoebe and our good friend of the show, Craig from the Mullet Show. So we are doing it all together. Nowhere near as intensely as I had been before is the plan, but it's certainly been interesting. Like it's interesting emotion to sort of go do it again. But it's also great for Craig as well. So he's never stepped foot into a gym in his entire life, and Craig's a heavier lad. And he's already done an amazing job and lost 50 kilos on his journey. So this is going to help him sort of kick that in a gear a little bit more. And for me, hopefully I drop the weight that I've regained. And also I sort of rebuild that, I don't know, feeling happy in my body again. Because I haven't had that in a little while. And I did have it for a little bit. And I miss it. So yeah, that's what I did this weekend. That's kind of a relatively huge thing, I guess, in some ways. But one of the other big differences is I'm going to the gym it's a council gym down the road at the Leisure Link, which is a pool. So I get access to a pool, spa, sauna, gym equipment. So because it has this almost YMCA-esque feel, unlike the other gym that I went to, which was one of those, gyms. That makes no sense. One of those like branded gyms, whereas like everyone in there was younger and really attractive and buff, and where this one is just old people and just like, middle-aged people with various sizes, has a whole different energy. It's actually really, really nice.
So what you're saying is you're seeing a lot more people hanging brain in the changing rooms.
Oh, I'm going to see naked old dudes at some point in this gym, and not even appealing ones.
And then proceed to like a sauna with them.
Yeah. It'll be individuals that you're like, ooh, you shouldn't be as body confident as you are, but well done. That's what I'm expecting. So yeah, that's kind of, I will consider that an achievement this week. So that's pretty cool. It's been pretty cool. Except the only bad choice that I made after returning to the gym for the first time in 9 months to then come home and go, I want to play some VR. Fuck, that was a bad call, because like my arms and shoulders are all sore, and then I proceed to just wail my arms around like a dingus. That was fun.
VR.
Oh, talking VR. Well, I could talk. That's about the games I've been playing this week. Now, there's a game that I'm playing in VR, which I still can't talk about. I've had it for so fucking long. Still can't talk about it though. But I had got returned to the VR after having it come back from your time. It's time with you. So I de-COVIDed it. That was pretty cool. It's still good. Still very, very good. I do love the VR.
So I still kind of just want to play Beat Saber. I'm just waiting for them to announce when it's coming.
Yeah, I guess that's probably the one thing. It's just like when's the big one's going to drop. Like, weirdly enough, I haven't gone back to Horizon. Like, admittedly, the game I've been playing is the one I can't talk about, and that's the one that keeps drawing me back. So even when I lent it to you, when the headset was lent to you, the whole time I was like, not, I want to play more Village, or I want to play more of this. Like, I'm like, Townsman. I wouldn't mind playing some more Townsman. Townsman's pretty cool. But my brain's like, no, I want to play this game. I can't talk about it yet. It's so frustrating that I can't talk about it. But like, it's pretty much the only thing I've been playing in the VR.
Upcoming Pornhub app.
Yeah.
Cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah, I would be consumed by that app. Just don't get me started. But other than that, I guess the one that I've been playing the most is a game. Not even I say it most. I've not even playing a lot either. Is a game that dropped this week. After last week we sat here and gave them shit. It totally came through like the next morning. So big shout out to the team over at Turn Left Distributions for providing us a review copy of Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now, Max, you've been playing it as well, but nowhere near as much. You've only dipped your toes in this week.
I literally played the opening cutscene. I walked through the forest. I hit a typewriter. I'm like, I'm not feeling it at the moment. I'm going to save it so I don't have to rewatch the cutscene and then peaced out. I've had a really weird game week.
Yeah.
I don't really want to play much. So I'll let you gush about it for a bit.
Well, look, even myself, I've not put as much time into it as I had wanted. But this is a from the ground up remake in the same vein as Resident Evil 2 Remake, 3 Remake, where they've taken what is considered one of the greatest Resident Evil games ever, one of the greatest games ever, and Resident Evil 4 remastered to the now current gen and last gen. First things first, game looks fantastic. It's not substantially better than the original. It's not without some of its problems, of course. Like if you sort of, it's not ideal. Like there is some minor bum things about it, and it looks to be a disparity between the Xbox and the PS version. It's one of those things I noticed. I'm like, that looks a little bit weird. Jumped over to Digital Foundry, who do exceptional videos, and I went, oh, cool, wasn't just me that's spotting some of these visual inconsistencies. We're saying, oh, no, says no Remaker 3. No, that was Remaker 3. Came about 2 years after the Remaker 2. It's very good. Not as good as 2. Not as good as this one so far.
But, although, to be fair, 3 also wasn't as good as 2 originally, so...
Correct. Yeah, very much so. But yeah, look, it's very, very good. The things they've been able to do here, and once again, I said I'm only a couple hours in, is they've been able to expand the game. And I mean, by expand, I don't mean in adding more, which they have done, but it's also expanded the visual footprint of the world. In that the original one was very brown, and obviously, and the foliage, etc., wasn't all that dense because the PS2 or GameCube at the time couldn't run it. So straight away, one of the first things when the game kicks in, and you get out of your vehicle, you start wandering down this track. The track itself there's way more vegetation. It's a longer trek from A to B with a house, and even then you can't even see the house straight away. So it adds this kind of intensity to it. Kind of adds this ambiance that kind of goes, ooh, hang on, this is not as confronting. It's still scary, and this is all something that can be seen on the Chainsaw demo as well, might I add.
Mm.
But the removal of tank controls is brilliant. The dialogue is still the same cheesy ass bullshit that it was originally. It's kind of, as I mentioned last week, it is all the improvements that you would want. Pardon me. In the same game. They've expanded on some parts, gave it a bit more world building, added a bit more, just the difference when it comes to, say, because you don't have the tank controls anymore, so the movement is a bit more free. It feels like the enemies are a lot more erratic and intense because of it. It's almost like they've racked up their furiosity in order just to counteract the fact that you can aim and move now. So they kind of come at you a lot quicker. You can get surrounded really easy. But especially in that sort of opening areas. And there's even a little bit later on, you can still get swarmed pretty quick, which is fun. I obviously have more to say as the more time I spend with it, but is there any specific questions you have, Max?
No, I'm looking forward to jumping into it. My plan is to hit it hard this week.
Yeah. For me,
from memory, it's not an overly long game.
Not really.
None of the Resident Evils really have been.
No.
So yeah, my aim is to have it done by next record.
For me, I've found that because I had never played Resident Evil 2 or 3 before, it was really easy for me to pick up and play it. Where here, because I played a Resident Evil 4 just before Resident Evil 8 came out, it's still relatively fresh in my brain. So I'm like, I don't have the same urge or pull to go through it.
Is Ashley still as much of a pain in the ass as she was in the original?
Time will tell.
So
it's not rad, but she's fine. You see some of the biggest complaints is you can't look up her skirt anymore. I'm like, oh no, why could you do that in the first place?
People are gross.
People are gross. But yeah, look, it runs better, looks better. The console performance is not ideal. If you turn on ray tracing or turn on the hair strands, which is just a mode that makes the hair look more realistic, it butchers that frame rate. It fucking decimates it. So don't do that. It's pretty easy. Heed my warning, Max. But one thing you had been playing is Destiny 2 finally had its new raid from Lightfall.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it's been out for about 2 weeks now. So this is the new raid called Root of Nightmares, which is set on the new planet, in Neomuna, on Sun? Yeah, something like that. It is by far the easiest raid of Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to be invited to a learning group the other night. I'm like, sure, no worries. We did it with relative ease. They basically said, we're kind of going to let you guys explore. You try and get as far as you can. Because the way the raid's broken up is it's the same for all the raids along Destiny 2. So if you've ever done one, you'll know what I'm talking about. But essentially, it's you spawn in and you have to find the first encounter. So you travel through the area, you get to the first encounter, you do that, then there'll be another section where you travel to the third and the fourth, and so on and so forth. So they're like, if you're going in the wrong direction, we'll give you a heads up, but otherwise, just you go where you think.
So who gives you the heads up?
Oh, so because we had done it, I was doing it with people who had already done it, so they knew.
Oh, okay.
They knew what they were doing. They were teaching me how to get through it. So
that's
they're like,
nice.
They're like, you go and explore, and we'll tell you if you go in the wrong direction.
That's good community stuff.
And then they're basically like, hey, we're going to make you do all the mechanics so you know what you're doing. You're not going to just be the added clear guy. So I was what they refer to as a runner.
Mm-hmm.
So the big mechanic in this game is seed growth. So there's light seeds and dark seeds. And essentially, you play the role of a gardener and you farm the shit out of these seeds. Essentially creating paths for your allies to get through.
Okay.
And then in one encounter, they completely forego that mechanic that they've drilled into you for the whole thing and completely change it up and do a different mechanic.
Oh.
And it's just as easy. It's bizarre though. So yeah, it was good fun. It was definitely the most mechanically light and for boss difficulty the easiest. We beat the final boss on our third try. It was super chill. Glad I got it done. I also did the previous raid that came out at the back end of last year, I think, from memory, Vow of the Disciple. That was really intense. So again, I was looking in the Fireteam group finder on the Bungie website, and someone was like, "Hey, I'm teaching the raid. I don't want anyone who's ever done it before." And I'm like, "Oh, cool, pick me." And we went through it. We got to the end boss, and by that time it was like 4 a.m. I'm like, I need to sleep. So I've seen most of the raid. I know how to finish it. I just got to get around to doing it. That was fun. So most of my week this week has been Destiny related gameplay. Unlocked the new exotic. I did a few things. I'm slowly getting that power creep up. Sitting at, I think the cap's at 1820 at the moment. I'm sitting at 1795-ish. So I'm slowly getting there, but I've just been enjoying kind of just doing the loot grind and
yeah, you just kind of need to like that checkout.
I've kind of just been going on autopilot, going back and forth, getting the things that I need. It's been very chill. Yeah,
no, I understand that. Like, so this week, I've done something similar.
Because I lost my DMZ buddy.
Yeah, he's off on holidays.
He's currently in Japan, so I'm just like, well, I guess I'll just play other games then.
Because I did the same thing. I went at it for no reason. I re-downloaded Tools Up, which was an Overcooked-esque game, but all about home renos, and you got pull up carpets and paint walls, and like I can hit 3 stars on that in like any level with relative ease. It's not a very hard one. So like I've just started a new save and I've just like bit by bit before work or like throughout the day, I'm like, I'll do a couple of rooms. Like,
so have you pieced out a Minecraft Dungeons then? Has your son realized that it's a garbo game?
He's been busy a lot this week, and as have I after school, so we've not been able to go back. But if you ask, sure we'll go back.
Got that after school job that he's doing.
Yeah. No, it's just been like for whatever reason he's not been able to jump in as much, which is fine. Kid, he doesn't call me and say, "Hey, Dad, let's play." I'm not going to play it, so that's all good. But because as I said, like it is like a subpar Diablo 4. And last week we talked about Minecraft, and we talked about more Diablo 4. So the open beta was this weekend. Now. James,
it is currently still running at time of recording.
Yeah. So my son,
it'll just have finished.
So my ex-wife, my son's mother, she's a big fan of Diablo, has been for many years. So she downloads the beta on her account at the PlayStation at her house, her one, and then James, my son, has my old PlayStation. She's like, "Hey, like, can we install it so he and I can play co-op?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, of course you can." And then it goes, bing, hey, you need to connect to your Blizzard account. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, no worries. I log in. Hey, remember that time you played WoW in like 2011? Yeah, you connected this authenticator to it, and you need to make it work. I'm like, what? So I download the Battle.net authenticator, and it's like, yeah, it's not going to connect. I'm like, oh, fucking hell. So then I'm trying to like backtrack. It's like, oh, do you remember the creation date of your first WoW character? I'm like, no. Why would I remember that? And then it's like, oh, well, do you have the key for like one of the physical copies you bought? I'm like, somewhere. Ugh. And I went through some boxes at like 8 o'clock this morning trying to find this key. No success. Who fucked if I know where it is? So yeah, you played it though.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. So
you,
I tried to get on.
You finally got the class that you wanted?
Yeah, so I tried. So they released the 2 classes that were omitted from last week's beta. So the Druid and the Necromancer were added this week.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get on Saturday afternoon, and it's like, hey, you are going to be in this queue for about 138 minutes. I'm like, fuck that, and quit. I got on at about 8 o'clock at night, and there was a 1-minute queue time, so I got in straight away. Made my Necromancer. Necromancer has changed a lot since Diablo 2. Yeah. So the new shtick for the Necromancer is you now have this thing called the Book of the Dead or Book of the Damned or something like that. And essentially that controls how your summon skeletons work. So they're just going to be normal dudes to begin with. At level 15 you unlock skeleton mages, and at level 25 you unlock a different set of skeletons. And then each of those subsets have their own upgrade path. So like you can summon an extra one, or instead of having swords, they have big shields and they reflect damage at people, or once every 12 seconds they will completely negate all damage done to you, or stuff like that. The Necromancer is ridiculously broken. It is so overpowered, it's not even funny. It's going to be nerfed into the ground, and deservedly so. So one of the returning bosses that has been in all of the Diablo games is the Butcher, and the Butcher appears here in the open beta.
That's cool.
From memory, I beat it last week. I think it's at around level 17 that you normally fight it. I think I was at like level 20-ish with my wizard at the time. I beat this motherfucker at level 5 with the Necro. The skeletons are just ridiculously good at tanking damage for you, and you can just fucking stand there throwing bone spears at it, and they do so much damage. It's a joke. Wow. So I think
even old min max.
It is crazy. So no puts in the chat, I don't understand what the queue is actually for. It's a solo game at the moment. It's not. You can party up. You can make clans. You can the open world exists. You see people out in the wild. You can party up. You can do all that stuff. Basically, to my understanding, is they're like, we're going to make longer queue times so the people who are in the game can enjoy the game without it lagging and DCing. So we're going to restrict people from logging in too quickly, because that obviously the more people that log into the server, the harder it's going to chug. Like even I was having trouble staying in. I got booted a couple of times for connection issues because there's just a lot of people in. The world boss that spawns in every X amount of hours spawned 4 times over the weekend. I didn't bother doing it. Yeah, so no, if you ever go into one of the big city hubs, you'll see just like tons of people running around. Like it'll chug in the city, and then as soon as you leave that area, it'll kind of go back to normal. They
do clarify they haven't seen it yet. They're just dicking about level 5. So.
Yeah. So I'm super keen. I think a lot of balance issues need to be resolved by the time the game's launched. Now they have come out. I think I read a statement somewhere saying that by the end game they will pretty much all balanced, but some classes are just going to be stronger than others at certain points of the game, which I kind of get. Like I understand that each class works differently. That's fine, but it seems to be a little bit egregious in the case of the Necro being able to solo bosses 3 times higher level than them.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
But yeah, it's good fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good job. Well, yes, Diablo is most not something that's in my wheelhouse, and when it does drop in June, I don't see myself spending time with it. But you might.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a PC purchase for me this time though.
Yeah, no, you're big fancy pants PC. Checks out.
I wanted Diablo 2 on PC to begin with, but at the time, a lot of my friends got it on PlayStation, so I just bought it on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Didn't have crossplay.
It does download.
Now that it does, yeah, I think PC is the way to go for me.
Makes absolute sense. Speaking of fun though, and then we'll get into the news. So on Thursday night, I think I mentioned this last week. So my partner Phoebe and my mate Craig, the last couple of Thursdays we've been doing GM mode in WWE 2K23. So it's gone escalated further now, as now that we're starting to get the mechanics of it all. You know, we're like, all right, well we know how to book better matches, sort of. We know how to use the power cards, which just fuck other people. So here I am, week out from pay-per-view. I'm like, all right, I'm building up all these feuds, about to have these big fuck-off matches. My partner Phoebe hits me with a power card that doubles everything for me the next week. So any cost, double. A Hell in a Cell match, guess what? You have to have it because it was a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Normally $40,000. Jokes, how about $80,000 for you, Ryan? Just because. I'm like, oh, I hate you so much. It was balls. Absolute trash. But the game's fun. It's absolute silly. Like, I don't think we're really winning at the game. Most of our matches scores like 2 stars at best. We're literally just pitching storylines that we're making up then and there, not even taking into account any of the actual statistics or data. But it's just silly fun. Absolutely silly fun.
Which is what you kind of wanted out of it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And with all the other games that I play being all super serious and stuff, I was like, this is kind of a dumb way to enjoy the things that I love, which is PlayStation wrestling, in a different way. With people that I'm big fans of too, so it works out well. Oh, I also downloaded Far Cry 5 again.
Oh, because it's got a PS5
Yeah, it's got
now?
a PS5 60 frames per second update. I was like, sexual. Awesome. I'm super down for that. Far Cry 5 was like awesome. Like Joseph Seed was sweet. So I haven't played it yet though, but it's downloaded, ready to go. All right, let's get in the session. We call Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation. Max.
So we'll kick things off with something that we've been talking about on and off for like the last, what feels like forever.
Yeah, it's 8th year in the going now.
Could the war be over, Ryan?
Oh, the war between Microsoft and Call of Duty and PlayStation.
The console wars.
The Call of Duty wars.
So according to a statement released yesterday, an inquiry has, quote, reached the provisional conclusion that overall, the transaction will not result in a substantial lessening of competition in relation to console gaming in the UK, end quote. It seems the regulators now do not believe there is a financial incentive for Microsoft to make Activision games, including Call of Duty, exclusive. Quote, while the CMA's original analysis indicated that this strategy would be profitable under most scenarios, new data, which provides better insight into the actual purchasing behavior of Call of Duty gamers, indicates that this strategy would be significantly loss-making under any plausible scenario. The document adds, on this basis, the updated analysis now shows that it would not be commercially beneficial to Microsoft to make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox following the deal, but that Microsoft will instead still have the incentive to continue to make the game available on PlayStation, end quote. The paper goes on to express concerns about competition in cloud gaming, which are yet to be fully resolved. Activision Blizzard has since released a response in that relation to the UK regulators' stance. Quote, the CMA's updated provisional findings show improved understanding of the console gaming market and demonstrate a commitment to supporting players and competition. Sony's campaign to protect its dominance by blocking our merger can't overcome the facts, and Microsoft has already presented effective and enforceable remedies to address each of the CMA's remaining concerns. We know this deal will benefit competition, innovation, and consumers in the UK, end quote.
All right, Max, what's your thoughts before
I mean, I figured this was going to happen. It makes sense. I guess Sony really need to come and play ball now. Otherwise, they could potentially miss out. They've got all these deals in place with Nintendo and all that stuff. And, like, obviously there's the running joke. Well, it's not a running joke. It's serious. That there's no way a Nintendo console can run at parity with the big boys, but they need to do something because it looks like this is going to go through.
Yeah, it's getting closer and closer. But like the thing that craps my attention,
and like between you and me, I'm really hoping this means I can play WoW with my Games Pass subscription without having to pay for an extra subscription. Because your boy will totally get back into WoW.
Suddenly, Diablo 4 pops up on the old Game Pass. Like, hey. Look, for me, this hits a couple different beats, and it's a lot of things I'll probably be repeating. Right. I love it how it's like, oh, this, the inquiry goes, hey, it would be financially silly to make it exclusive, but but it doesn't say that they can't. So it's like, look, hey, it would be a weird decision to do it, and then Microsoft are like, ba-ba, and just do it anyway, right? Because they don't need, like, this is the thing. It's not about the finances. The fact that they are willing to blow $69 bajillion at this thing tells you that finances were never a fucking concern of Microsoft's, right? And on top of that, right, this week, Microsoft were like, oh, that means PlayStation will have 10 years. If we make a 10-year deal, they'll have 10 years to make a competitor. Hey, Xbox, Microsoft, why don't you use those 10 years to make your own fucking game? Don't buy another one, just make your own. If you're expecting Sony to do the exact same fucking thing, why can't you do it? You have a first-person shooter right then and there. Why don't you spend that time to make Halo fucking better? Jesus Christ. The absolute garbage on both sides continues just to be abhorrent. Right, even so much so, to add to this week, I'm not sure it's in the news anywhere else, apparently there was a PS5 version of Redfall that just got straight up scrapped. The second that merger went through, they went, knock, 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 hey, you know that PS5 version? Fucking can it. It's Dunskies, because it ain't going there no more. No. They had no financial incentive to make that exclusive, but they did. That is what will happen here. Will this deal go ahead? Yeah, probably. But like, once again, it's not about the finances. It's about Microsoft having the literal inability to make their own fucking games. So they just buy everyone else out instead. Because let's look into this next... I'm going to continue this fucking rage into the next news article, right? Here we go. Best Publisher of 2022. Each year, Metacritic runs the numbers on all the games released in the previous 12 months to determine the publisher who put out the best stuff. The site, which aggregates review scores across all popular media, has crunched the data, and come out on top is, unsurprising, 2022's Best Publisher, Sony Interactive Entertainment. Yes, that's right. Sony's first-party efforts last year meant it had, quote, no problem, end quote, taking the top spot on Metacritic's rundown, including all PC ports. The platform holder slate of release in 2022 averaged an overall score of 85.6, with all of them falling into the website's green score category. What did Microsoft release last year? Fucking dick, right? Dick. And the only games they're going to release this year are games from other people they fucking bought, whether it be the likes of Starfield, if it comes out, Redfall, Hi-Fi Rush, Tango, fucking Arcane, Bethesda, 3 studios, and 3 games, might I add, that were likely created before the fucking purchase. Microsoft have 1,000 other studios, and what are they releasing? Fucking nothing. Like, this isn't about, like, oh, congratulations, PlayStation, make better stuff, but, like, which is most objectively true, as we're seeing here, right? So why not just try be better? It's pretty straightforward, is it not? Hey, because literally all the arguments are like, oh man, we are so shit that we just simply can't make anything, so we have to buy Call of Duty. That's not the answer. And PlayStation are all being like, oh man, we're so shit at making first-person shooters, they can't buy it. That's not good enough either. Like, you could have been better. Now, don't get me wrong. PlayStation's main argument here is Call of Duty is free fucking money. They don't have to do shit. They don't front any developmental cost. They front a marketing agreement, and that's pretty fucking cool. And then money just rolls in. So there's no way that they would step aside from this deal. That's why they're there. But it is fucking stupid on both sides. It's absolutely so dumb. But like, once again, the data is fucking there. Just because you bought more studios won't make you the better platform. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And because once again, this tells me, right, like, you know, the financially viable decision. They wouldn't do that because this is getting petty. This is getting personal. So like, is it financially viable? It doesn't fucking matter. Microsoft makes like bajillions of dollars a second simply through Office.
Well, I think we had this discussion last time we spoke about it, but I have a feeling that that's how it's going to happen. It's going to be like, Sony's going to be like, see, we told you they're not going to put it on our console. And then Microsoft's going to be like, see, we told you they weren't willing to make a deal with us to do it. They're both going to fuck their consumers over and customers over just to prove a point that they were the morally high ground person there. And all that's really going to happen is the players, are going to miss out on being able to shoot falls on Call of Duty.
Yeah, but that's also Call of Duty plus any other game that is within that Activision. Like, the focus has been so heavily on Call of Duty because it is the most prettiest face in all of this. But like, this purchase is way bigger than just Call of Duty. But because no one gives a flying fuck about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or Spyro or Crash Bandicoot
or Overwatch
or WoW even. You know what I mean? Like, no one gives a flying fuck about them, really. So hence why if Sony started swinging to the fences about Overwatch, no one would care. But Call of Duty, they sort of have to. But what do you think about them being the best publisher of last year? Makes sense. God of War, Horizon.
Let me just pull up because I forgot to put it in. I'll read off quickly the top 10 list.
Yes, please.
Of the publishers, because between you and me, they didn't really have that big a competition.
Oh, last year was a very quiet year.
Let me just find it. I should have had this ready, but I didn't. Put it in the thing, but I didn't. Bloody hell, where is it? If you want to just read I was gonna say, do you want to just read the next article and then I'll?
Well, actually, look, I'm just gonna put it out there. You know, it's one of those things. Like, yeah, look, PlayStation didn't release a bunch of games last year.
I found it.
Oh,
yes, suck it. Shut up. Okay. So the top 10 publishers according to Metacritic.
Does it give the aggregate?
And we had Sony Interactive. No, it does not. Right. So number 1 was Sony Interactive Entertainment. Yep. 2 was Paradox Interactive.
Oh, what Paradox do? Pretty sure they did like Plague Tale.
Paradox do City Skylines, Crusader Kings 3.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
All right.
So,
yep.
Yep, cool. Number 3 was Activision Blizzard.
Hey, okay.
Number 4 was Focus Entertainment.
Focus was Focus does Plague Tale.
Number 5 was Take-Two Interactive.
Okay.
6 is Capcom. Sega 7.
Sega.
8 was Annapurna.
Nice.
9 Humble.
Aww.
And 10 Devolver.
Interesting.
So like, they kind of like
just by releasing Horizon, God of War, and then what like the Returnal port and
Last of Us Part 1 port, Marvel.
Last of Us port has
Legacy of
Last
Thieves,
of Us Part 1,
MLB The Show 22. Like they had a few games come out.
Yeah, once again, all from their own studios, might I add. Except for Returnal. Actually, technically Returnal is although a first party studio now, was a second party exclusive though. So there's that. So like, you know, Microsoft's arguments of like, man, Sony are fine without it. That's most certainly true. Are they?
Yeah.
Speaking of Horizon though, there's a shared actor in Horizon and Jean Vic,
Sure.
the late Lance Reddick.
I watched John Wick 1 last night and 2 this afternoon.
1 is still so brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. So, John Wick director Chad Stahelski, I think is how you pronounce it. Yeah. Has been tasked with bringing Jin Sakai to the big screen and wants to find a way to recreate the splendor of Sucker Punch's sandbox in cinemas around the world. Speaking to Discussing Film, he shared a little insight into how he's planning to adapt one of PlayStation's biggest hits, Ghost of Tsushima. It has a really interesting quote. It has a really interesting story if you really dive into the tale of Jin Sakai and what the film is really about. And you tie him to these amazing visuals. You can already tell from the John Wick films that I love color and I love composition. To really try and not only live up to but exceed what the game has done with its visuals is completely fascinating to me, end quote. He added that he wants to find a way to, quote, push the color palette, but pondered how can you bring that world to life in a very realistic and grounded way, and was also very distant when asked whether or not the film would be filmed in black and white.
Ah, that'd be pretty cool. With that whole, because they had the Kurosawa mode in the game.
Yeah.
And interesting. Now, I guess for me, like visually, the game would be awesome. Sorry, visually the movie would be awesome as anything like the game. From a story perspective, I'm like, so when it's because it's a really interesting story, I'm like, wasn't for me. Was for you though.
Yeah, it was very good.
So like what? Okay, well, I guess that in mind. After having watched Jean Vic 1 and 2, would you like what would you want to see in the Ghost of Tsushima film?
I actually think I would like to see a black and white. I think it will be shot very much like an action film, which makes sense because it is a very action oriented game. I think he will struggle to if he's trying to compete with the visuals that the game has put out. I think he will struggle a little bit because obviously there is just certain things that you cannot that just don't translate well from film from like a digitally generated backdrop to what you're going to be filming on. It is very noticeable, so it'll be interesting to see. He's obviously got a good pedigree. He knows what he's doing with action films, so I'm very intrigued to see where it goes and how he does it, because at the moment I have complete faith that it'll be good. Just looking at his previous work, I think he'll do the game justice. But it's one of those things that we've been really spoiled lately by adaptations.
With Castlevania, Last of Us,
despite the fact that a lot of those have been either animated or TV series and are like a longer form of storytelling than what a shorter movie length film will be.
What was that League of Legends show on Netflix?
Oh, Arcane.
Arcane, thank you.
Brilliant.
Anarchy. Anarchy was the name that was coming to my head.
No, Arcane. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah. So look, for me, I don't give a flying fuck about Ghost of Tsushima, really. It's just not. It just didn't grab me. So, but I'll go see it in the same way that Uncharted is like. I like Uncharted. I don't really care about the movie. The movie was fine, and I'm sure I'll see
Mario
this
movie coming out soon.
Oh yeah, I got advanced screening tickets through Universal. Yeah, it's gonna be sweet. Because I forget that we're still on Universal's screener list when we used to cover movies.
You gonna hook your boy up or?
Well, it depends. It depends.
On? On?
I'll let you know. Depends if the missus doesn't want to go. But yeah, look, I'll go see it simply because it's PlayStation Studios, PlayStation Productions or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Do it for the show. Like I'm gonna go see D&D, the Honor Among Thieves, because it connects to my day job. Like yeah, I'll go see that. It looks to be so poo.
Yeah, it does. I kind of want to see it just to see how bad it is, but I'm planning on seeing John Wick this week, so.
Oh yeah, ooh. Yeah. I might watch John Wick.
And because I'm a total movie snob, I only see shit in gold class now, so I can only afford to go see one movie
every like 6 months, at most. Oh man! But speaking of things that are cool but poo, Fortnite.
Whoa! That's a bit harsh.
What is good but poo? The game is good. Microtransactions and the whole, and having my kid fucking floss in front of me today. It's a bit poo. Epic
Flossing's
Games.
really good for your health, though.
Yeah, but not
9 out of 10 dentists agree.
Yeah, he just does Fortnite dances now. I'm like, God damn it, you've become a meme kid. I hate it. Epic Games has been quietly pushing the game's creative suite for quite some time. But now, powered by Unreal Engine 5, the scope of what users will be able to make is being transformed. Alongside of the rollout of the Unreal Editor for Fortnite, which is what the developers unambitiously named the toolset, it's created some tech demos, including an Elden Ring-esque fantasy combat experience called Forest Dragon, and a decidedly sinister puzzler named The Space Inside. There's also a Call of Duty-inspired 16-player competitive multiplayer game named Deserted Domination, which instills memories of a modern Warfare 2 map, Rust. 1v1 me in Rust, mate. Speaking of memes. The goal ultimately is to transition Fortnite from game to bona fide platform. And in order to expedite the process, Epic Games is also transforming its business model, promising creators a 40% share of the entire release's revenue. The company says that payouts will be based on, quote, what players enjoy in Fortnite and account for things like island popularity, engagement, and attracting new players, end quote. In other words, the Battle Royale is just the beginning. Well, it's not. It's the second thing. Fortnite is about to become whatever you want it to be. Which makes sense, because Fortnite is already whatever you want it to be, because fucking...
So I jumped into the Forest Guardian tech demo right before we recorded.
It's dope.
It is incredible that it's made inside of fucking Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane what you can do. I really wish I was talented enough and creative enough to do something cool. But I'm not, but I'll play the shit out of of stuff that people do. Like, it's really good.
Yeah.
And people are going to be able to make, like, similar to how we kind of gushed at Dreams to begin with.
But in my head, it was like, it's Dreams, but better. It's Dreams, but as it should be. And it's actually
way better.
And it's actually transferable. With Dreams, it's its own customized proprietary toolset, right? That cannot be exported, that cannot be... This is teaching you Unreal.
Yeah.
And it will get you fucking money.
Mm.
And, like, even though I don't quite like Fortnite, for just personally, it is a cultural icon. In terms of... And then now they're taking it, like, as I was saying, it becomes whatever you want. Fortnite is already what you want it to be. But you can pick whatever skin you want. Like, this week, isn't there fucking Resident Evil skins? Like, you could be Leon Kennedy. That's cool. But you know what I mean? Like, you add that to everything else you can do. It's like, Jesus, man, there's so many things. And then, like, UE is great. It's, it's one of the most versatile engines there are. And Unreal Engine 5 looks to have incredible potential. And if you're incentivizing people to use it, well, fucking A. Which is also great for PlayStation, seeing as they have an X amount share into it, right? So, win-win. But you know what? Like, you've got people over here like just having, hey, let's be creative. Let's use the power of people to make the most creative things you can. But guess what, Max? Ubisoft says, fuck that noise. Have you ever felt that Assassin's Creed was a paint by numbers bullshit that just doesn't seem to end? Well, guess what? It's about to get worse, because Ubisoft is a publisher unafraid of tackling new and incorrect technologies head on. The company is always supportive of new platform launches and seems willing to embrace the cutting edge tech where possible. Even the questionable stuff. Remember, side note, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint and all its sick NFTs? Good time that was. There we go. It's the next line. It's already attempted to implement NFTs in its games with the Ubisoft Quartz initiative, which went about as well as you thought. Now, the publisher has proudly announced it's using AI to help write its games. Fuck. You already thought it was made by mindless robots. Now you know. Ubisoft Ghostwriter is an AI-driven tool that allows writers to generate lines of dialogue based on prompts, which can then be edited or adjusted in various ways. The idea is that dev teams can utilize the functionality to create, quote, barks. Those are for reference, they're the throwaway NPC lines you hear while running around open worlds. Like in GTA, when the players just, random NPCs just yells the dumbest shit at you. So this way, it allows... With this being done, it allows writers can focus more of their time on the main story and the characters, or you just hire more fucking writers. Sorry. Naturally, it's already been heavily criticized. I did it just then. Some industry figures have argued that managing and editing AI-generated dialogue would in fact be more time-consuming than just writing something themselves. It also naturally leads to concern that this is just the beginning, and what if eventually Ubisoft generates the Ghostwriter program to replace some or all of its human writers? And you know what? You wouldn't even notice. That last part was an editorial said by a human, written by a human. What's your thoughts, Max?
It's one of those things of like, the random NPC dialogue lines are so garbage anyway. Like, who at this point, like, why not? And the other part is like, yeah, you should probably hire someone, but that hired someone's like, I just wrote dick for a couple of days and sent it off, and like, fuck it, what's the point? Again, me not being a on games, I don't know how tedious that task would be to write bullshit throwaway lines that are so forgetful that no one gives a shit about them anyway. That kind of has to be a little bit demeaning, right?
Well, no, yeah, like in theory, like if you are ego driven in that sense, yes. But like what you're doing is fleshing out and making the world real.
Sure, but how many of those people stop to go, oh, that's an interesting beat by random NPC number 366 that I'm never going to probably run into again, or doesn't matter at all. Like, these are literally this, like, what they're saying they're doing or planning on doing is those bullshit throwaway lines that don't mean anything to the story, don't do anything like that. It's just adding background noise so the world seems less empty.
Yeah,
it's just of no consequence. It's like you said, it's running down down the street in GTA and having someone yell out, "Hey, look out!" Like, no one gives a shit. It's not going to make you stop and actually look out for what's happening. Like, it's just those unmemorable lines that just are there to create background noise.
Yes, but like think about there are some games where you've wandered through and you stop and listen to NPCs because they're telling.
I don't think I've ever done that in a game.
In an open world game, not so much.
But like, if you use the example of like the Mimir stories, I feel that is a completely different.
It's throwaway dialogue.
I don't think it is.
No, but in terms of its delivery method, it's the same thing. You're never going to hear everything that Mimir says. Was written by someone, and I guess you could AI generate, hey, can you spout some shit about Norse gods? Done. And would that have its same impact? Now, granted, is Ubisoft's world building any good? Not anymore. No. Would this make it better? No. Will this make it worse? They seem to be wanting to give it a go. So like for me, I understand that, AI is cool. It's fun. It's the new thing. But like, yeah, like I made some pretty cool pictures of me in it. That's fun. It's my profile picture on most of my things. But that doesn't that's a novelty. But using it to replace people is, especially creative fields. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm about to implement a bunch of AI. I'm going to hope to implement some automation at work that allows for some smoothing of back-end business processes, right? Stuff that isn't creative. It's just bullshit number crunching that allows people to use their time more efficiently. But this, like in a creative field, no. Because then you lose all that creative flair. You lose those moments. You lose those little things that make something fucking human. Yeah. And it's one of those things that like, oh, we'll just pay people to come and edit the AI, and like, will you? In the absolute, it is the gaming industry, it's the gaming business. and we know the likes of Ubisoft. And look, really dark joke here, but at least with one advantage of hiring a bunch of AI to work at Ubisoft, at least they can't be sexually assaulted, and then for Yves Guillemot to put that under the rug, right? Like, that's cool. That's one advantage. Like, hey, if we don't have any actual workers, no one can, leak about us being fucking gross people. So that's good to know.
Quick bits.
Yes.
So, surprising no one, you must beat Horizon Forbidden West before you can play the Burning Shores.
Not an issue for me. This is an issue for you.
Massive issue for me, but chances are, if you haven't finished Horizon Forbidden West, you're probably not going to play the DLC.
Also true.
Venom actor Tony Todd leaked the release window for upcoming Spider-Man 2 for September this year.
Haven't we been speculating September for months? Go us.
Yeah.
Hey, these guys know things sometimes.
TMNT, The Last Ronin to get a God of War style game.
Yeah, gross, because I've read, you and I were talking about this in our group chat with old Joel Gralton and Paul James Games. I've read that comic. It sucks.
I think you're the only person I know who doesn't like it.
Yeah, but no, it's written like a fucking neckbeard's fantasy with like that, absolute weeby fucking, samurai monologue. It's disgusting. It's bad. It's real bad. But I don't like that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, man, I'm the last person alive. It's me and my sword. And I'm like, shut up!
And lastly, The Lord of the Rings Golem has got a new release date for May 25th this year.
Doubt it. Hey, wonder if that means that the key mailer request that we put in like a year and a half
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'll play it. I'm still looking pretty poos about it. Oh, shit! Oh, I forgot this was coming out. Upcoming titles! Just another PlayStation first parties game to come out this year. MLB The Show 23 coming to PS5 and PS4 on March 28th. Oh, I have to make an email tomorrow. The following are coming on. Oh, you've separated by date, Max. This is much nicer. On the 29th of March, you get Pirates Outlaws on PS4, Runbeam Galactic on PS5 and PS4. On the 30th of March, you get Dredge, which shout out to friends of the show, Buddy Watson and Kieran Verbruge, to both being the number 1 and number 2 platinums in the world, because they both reviewed it. Well done to them. Sweet outs. Lunark on PS5 and PS4, Saga of Sins, PS5, PS4, The Last Worker, PS5, PS4. That's that last game. The Last Worker is a story about Ubisoft post AI. 31st of March, Blade Assault. That's kind of the real world of Watch Dogs 3, based in London. Lots of knife fights and blade assaults in London. Citizen Sleeper, PS5, PS4. Hot Wheels Rift Rally, PS5, PS4. Shukuchi.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, Shukuchi Ninja, PS5, PS4. It sounds like a sex reference, but that's cool. I'm going to be giving beyond that Shukuchi Ninja. On a complete unrelated note, obviously I probably want to play baseball this week. Did you see the trailer for that new 2K Lego game? Lego 2K Drive or something? It looks fucking
I missed
silly.
all of that because you're frozen and I can't anymore. Start again. Missed it all. You're frozen.
Oh, well, you're back now.
I got the... Did you hear about... it looks fucking random.
The Lego okay. The Lego 2K Drive game?
Oh, yes.
It looks mad. Looks super cool. Are you gonna play like Gucci or whatever the fucking... The Gooch? Gooch Ninja?
No, I'm gonna play fucking Resident Evil.
Oh man, no Gooch Ninja for Max. That's a shame.
Are you gonna make Ryan Betson on MLB?
Oh, you know it. You fucking know it. Each and every year, my friend. Each and every year. But anyways, well, thank you everyone for joining us on this week's episode. As always, we appreciate you taking and choosing to spend your time with us and our utter nonsense. Max?
Yo, yes, it's my turn, isn't it? Well, everyone, as per usual, this PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to talk future topics with us, or if you've got any ideas of future topics you'd like to hear about, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturists, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturists, as well as our merchandise store, PopCulturists.com/shop, where you buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players.